Welcome back to the 208 Fantasy Football Channel. If you're new, subscribe, hit that like button. Super excited to have you. We got tons to talk about, lots of news, lots of scary stuff in the fantasy football world. And you know what? We're going to tackle that stuff right now. And I've always wondered, should we not include week 1 in fantasy football? More to discuss. Here we go. Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
Trying so hard not to freak out.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a little bit about freaking out. Everything's good this last week. Everybody
sucks, man. I'm just so upset about it. My football season's over already. Nothing like ruining your Sunday watching a terrible football, man.
I've already agreed that not only do my Broncos need to rebuild, but so do all of my fantasy teams. I'm just a full rebuild right now, week 1.
Clearly, we didn't know anything what we were talking about prior to the season. But here's what we'd start with. We're going to talk about it. Nobody should panic just yet. Yeah, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Let's get right into some news because we got plenty of it.
What's going on?
Hit us with some news, Chance. What do you got?
Oh, sorry. I thought we had the drop. Am I here? I thought we had the drop. I was waiting for what's going on. You know,
you want me to do it again? I'll do it again for you. We did do it. Here, let me do it again for you.
What's going on?
There we go. Take 2.
Listen, if I missed it, my computer froze. I was just sitting here vibing.
Definitely missed it.
I don't know what happened. Okay, listen. Big news, okay, especially for those of you who are big time into fantasy. 2 biggest news stories. CMC, it turns out Achilles tendonitis could be 4 weeks, could be less, could be more. If you're the Niners, you don't care how long it takes. You're going to make sure CMC is ready to go when it matters. So CMC out for the foreseeable future. For sure out for the next 4 weeks and you know what? I'm sorry. I'm wild. I love to see this. Okay. Puka Nacua out for 4 weeks. Okay. All that disrespect on my boy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua was the new hotness. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's the best. Too bad. 4 weeks out on IR with a knee injury. Man, we had all sorts of injuries this week. Currently, Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert are listed with injuries. Now they play Thursday night, so they didn't really practice today. Those were just listed injuries. Had they practiced, it sounds like David Njoku is going to miss 2 to 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Kenneth Walker was listed with an abdominal injury, but that just could have been, I don't know, the Lineberry special, serious constipation. You know, we have no idea what that could be. Any other major injuries, guys? But those are the big ones. CMC, Puka, Njoku, Achane Mostert, Ken Walker.
Do we know anything on Ferguson? Jake Ferguson?
If Jake Ferguson is out with a knee injury, it sounds like it'll be at least 1 week that he'll probably be limited, but it's not as serious or a multiple week injury.
Tough.
It's good to know.
Yeah. I knew I missed one. There's so many,
so many injuries.
You forget what playing fantasy football is like. All these injuries and no amazing breakouts to start the year. You know what I mean?
Forgot to turn injuries off, man. We got to do that next time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting as we kind of go through the news a little bit and we start talking about injuries, but we got more to talk on about is not to panic because of what we saw. And we all had the same reaction. Like, that's it. Fantasy's over. It's week 1, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. But Justin, so you wanted to bring up some scenarios that you got in your league. And we have not heard this. Chance and I are still intrigued. Like, what's he going to ask?
We're fresh.
So go ahead. Absolutely.
Right. So in one of my leagues, I've always wanted to play one of these leagues. It's called a guillotine league. So what a guillotine league is, so there's 18 teams. So huge league. So what happens is every week, everybody plays against everybody. It's the league average. And the lowest scorer they get cut from the league. They're just gone. So they
Mhm.
don't get to play in the league anymore. So all their guys get dropped to waivers. So we had a predicament, and one of the commissioners said this while we were playing. So there was a score that was 58 to 59. The player those were the two lowest scores. So they were playing head to head. So they have Christian McCaffrey at 58. He gets ruled out the day before. And so he's just scrambling. He picks up Kyle Juszczyk.
Yes.
Yes. He had a 40-yard catch, correct? So that happened, which was hilarious. People are just like so mad. It's so funny, super pissed. Then something else happened in this league, and this is where I want to get your guys' opinion. So how the waiver wire works is it's all fab. So you get $1,000 fab. So when all those really good players, so on the waiver wire this week is Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson, Javonte Williams are the big names that are up on the waiver wire, as well as Drake London. But what happened was someone traded all their fab for Breece Hall, and the league has gone crazy about it. So $1,000 of fab for Breece Hall. What do you guys think? Would you, as a commissioner, would you allow it? Would you not allow it? The league has gone crazy about it.
Chance, I'll let you answer first.
One of the most active teams. So
I think this is one of those things, and I hear this on so many fantasy podcasts, and to me as a fantasy fanatic, this is like the most obvious thing in the world to me. Know your league rules. If in the league rules, it allowed the trading of fab in the rules when you started the league, that's totally legit. Just because people didn't know that they could trade fab if they're in it doesn't mean that all of a sudden they can be like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I can't believe that happened. Like if that was allowed, if they traded and the rules let them do it and the system processed the trade, it was in the league rules before you started. Everyone that's mad is just mad they didn't think about doing it.
Yep.
I think it's 100%. I love it. I love it. I that is creative, especially if you're new to guillotine or rules where they allow fab to be traded. I think it's brilliant. You know, if you have the right team to do it, and they're like, what? And so now you're going to get a copycat because that's what fantasy football and football is copycats. Sure. People are going to try to trade their fab. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. Kudos to the person who did it and made and for those two people. Well done.
So
go ahead.
So the commissioner called me like that night because like he has me and this other kid in a chat where like it's like we're all just talking like rules wise, and he's like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Listen, like either way, like it's a gamble for both because one person just spent all their fab. They could not pick up another player unless it's a $0 bid. Mm-hmm. Okay, they just spent all their money. The other guy just got rid of their first round draft pick in an 18-man league. Like that is huge. How much is that guy worth? I don't know. And like the craziest thing is nobody knows how the waiver wire is going to work fab wise. How much money people are going to put on players. So to be like I put my waivers in, and like I'm super curious to see how people go crazy on the waiver wire.
Nice. Hey, can you give us? Well, you have to update us on how much fab you spent on one of these guys. Don't do it now because I don't want one of your league mates to come in and undercut you. Let's not do that here. But in the future, hey, I would just say, right, this is a great reminder. One of the rules that I have in some leagues and I don't have in other leagues, and this stems from my commissioner powers in a dynasty league that Lineberry and I are in. Check to make sure or see if you can put out players in your IR slots. Some leagues allow you to put players that are ruled out into an IR slot. Some leagues don't. And it's a great way if you have a guy that's ruled out and you have a free IR slot, slide your out guy in and pick up a guy. Yeah, you got to drop them, but it's an easy way to do it. I have some leagues. That's the case. You can put players ruled out. Oh, T. Higgins ruled out. I slid him right into my IR slot. I picked up Andre Yoshevich just in case. No harm, no foul. I'm going to drop Andre. No big deal. But know your league rules. It's so important. I get sick and tired of hearing it, but I realize everyone needs to hear it. Know your league rules. Know how you can work the system.
Yep, that is the battle for sure. So that's great. That's great insight, Justin. I'm glad you brought that up. We are going to talk a little bit about week 2 waiver wire pickup. So let's jump right into that right now.
Okay.
So, yeah. Intro.
Okay, I love that.
Get it going. So let's
here we go.
Okay, so we got 3. I think we can probably all agree Isaiah Likely in that offense probably should be your number 1. With that setup, I don't think they're going to go 3 wide receiver sets. I think they're going to go 2, even with Mark Andrews. He's going to get targets. If he's out there on your waiver wire, go get him immediately. Try it. And I don't know that I'd drop full fab, but yeah, a significant amount, especially if you're short at tight end.
I dropped 20% at least to get him. I would drop 20% of my fab at minimum. And let me ask you guys this: as far as the fab goes for Isaiah Likely, let's say it was just a weird game for Mark Andrews, okay, and he comes back. If Mark Andrews is still Mark Andrews, the way Isaiah Likely was used in this offense, what's the lowest you see him finish as a tight end on the season? Even if Mark Andrews is the way he was, if Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews and finishes as a top 5 guy.
I think he's a top 20 guy.
Top 20?
Yeah, I was thinking top 15.
I think
it'd be even higher than that. Like, that's bottom.
Tight end is so gross every year. And an athlete like Isaiah Likely, like, I don't see a world, even if Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews, where he finishes outside of the top 12. Like, I don't know a lot of tight ends more athletic than him on teams that lack wide receivers more than the Ravens do. So even if you have Mark Andrews or you don't, and Mark Andrews comes back to form, I still think Isaiah Likely is a big time waiver wire pickup because he's going to be better than most tight ends, even if Mark Andrews is back.
And we're going to talk a little bit more. Yeah, and we're going to talk more about this, but I mean, he was number 1 ranked tight end this week. So I mean, gosh, you got him for nothing at the end of drafts, or you picked him up from waiver wires as soon as you found out that Mark Andrews was going to be suspect, right? So tight end this week was really weird, and we're going to talk more about that later.
Really bad. Tight end was awful this week.
Just a heads up to you guys. I drafted Mark Andrews in my league of record, my oldest league all time. Drafted Mark Andrews. It was great. And I never draft defenses in this league. I always just stream defense. So my last pick of this draft was Isaiah Likely because I didn't know if Mark Andrews was going to play.
Great.
Yep. Well done.
No, you didn't let me finish. Wednesday night, I'm looking for somebody to drop so I can pick up a defense to stream.
Oh, no.
Because Mark Andrews was supposed to play. Dropped Isaiah Likely Wednesday night to pick up a defense because Mark Andrews was playing.
Yeah, I get it.
Super cool.
Super fun. Thinking. That's tough.
Moving on, we're working backwards here a little bit, but I do want to talk about Baker Mayfield, who was the second highest scoring quarterback this week behind Josh Allen, who was, you might be the only one that's like, wow, okay, he crushed it.
Monster.
But Baker surprised some people, but just did very, very well. We were very concerned about this offense, but week 1 looked pretty good. I go pick him up if you are quarterback shy.
Yeah, I think Baker Mayfield's the fact that Baker Mayfield is showing up and Deshaun Watson is not.
Oh, love it! Hilarious. I love it.
It's such a Browns thing.
Oh, I love it so much. Mike Evans is a dude, man.
Oh.
He is so underrated. Like, oh my gosh, he's just so consistent. Model of consistency.
It doesn't happen very often. I think it's only happened 5 times. I think Mike Evans is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Hands down, as soon as he's available. And that's hard. It's hard to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no way to me Mike Evans shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Correct.
Yeah. And then our third guy here, Jordan Mason, who finished 3rd in this year running backs, kind of a surprise to everybody. And it just goes, Shanahan is one of those running back whisperer coaches. He doesn't matter who he's got back there. They seem to always produce. I think those that picked him up last minute or just in case and put him in there were pleasantly surprised. So pretty awesome that he got it. So if you can go get him, he's a guy that I would get right away easily, and I would probably drop quite a bit of fab on him. You guys agree, disagree?
I think so. Fun story about Jordan Mason, right? Jordan Mason was an undrafted free agent out of Georgia Tech, and he was a stud at Georgia Tech for 3 years. And then his senior season, he got benched because Georgia Tech got its highest rated recruit of all time. You know who that recruit was?
Was it Gibbs?
Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs showed up, and Jordan Mason played behind Jameer Gibbs, and so he went undrafted because his senior season he was behind a top 5 guy in NFL wise. So Jordan Mason, no surprise as a college guy that he's a stud, and I think he's going to keep being a stud as long as CMC's out.
Yep.
Agreed. Yeah, if these guys are available, go get them. We got a couple more here. Justin, you want to talk about Alec Pierce? I'm going to work backwards a little bit. You had selected him here. What are your thoughts about this offense and him being here?
I lost a little faith in Anthony Richardson. Like I drank that Kool-Aid when I saw that preseason game, and when he uncorked that 60-yard ball, like he was square stanced, like a guy like 5 inches away from him. He threw that ball on a like perfect in the bucket, like whatever you want to call it. Alex Pierce, he should be available. He only has ownership in 1.7% of leagues. Like, I don't know if he's going to be anything. He would be super good in best ball. Like, this might be Anthony Richardson type of wide receiver, though. I don't think he's a Michael. I don't think Anthony Richardson is a pick apart kind of guy, death by a million cuts, Michael Pittman kind of guy. I think Alex Pierce has a chance to just run down the field and go catch touchdowns. Maybe Gabe Davis light just a little bit, where he's just running goes. Cause this kid has speed to burn. He was on that Cincinnati team that went undefeated, went to the college playoffs. He was their go-to guy. I remember listening to Chris Sims, like this was his guy going through the draft a couple years ago. Kind of disappeared a little bit, but I think if you need something, like if you want to bet on some high ceiling stuff, I think Alex Pierce is a really good option.
Yep. He is a really good wide receiver. My issue here with him, he's available. I get that. Just temper your expectations. He only had 3 targets, caught all 3 of them for $125. Okay. Mitchell only had 1 catch with 5 targets.
Yeah.
So I think Mitchell's still the guy. Just be mindful of that. But Robinson is our next guy. Chance. What are your thoughts?
I picked up DeMarcus Robinson in our best ball league. He was in 2 other leagues. My last round pickup was DeMarcus Robinson because last year when the Rams were struggling with their wide receivers and Kupp came back and Puka was struggling from weeks 13 through 17, right? He scored 13, 12, 13, 17 points. Okay. He was an essential part of this offense last year when the Rams were back and forth between Kupp and Puka injuries. DeMarcus Robinson is an established part of this team. And I think that now that Puka is on IR, this last week it was, is it Taylor? Who was the guy that got all the targets? I literally never.
Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. Thank you. Tyler Johnson was the one that saw that Puka roll in that game once Puka went out. But I think that was just because of the way the game was running. I think DeMarcus Robinson is the guy that you'll want to own across from Cooper Kupp moving forward. Now, 5, I think it feels like the entire O-line for the Rams got hurt. And so they're going to have a really hard time running the ball in the next couple of weeks. But I think Matt Stafford's still going to chuck it. So DeMarcus Robinson is a big pickup for me.
It's crazy. So Cooper Kupp had 21 targets, which is massive, right?
Let's
go. And Tyler Johnson had 7 and DeMarcus Robinson had 7. I do also think there's an opportunity for Colby Parkey, who had 5 targets, to get some increased targets in this offense. Just be mindful, but I do agree with you. I think Stafford's going to, again, put it on his shoulders and start slinging the heck out of the ball and just using his talent. So
can I talk about running backs just real quick? So just like
absolutely.
So Jordan Mason and Jaleel McLaughlin, I'm sure Chance could hit on that since he watched that whole game. They're both about 39% ownership. Bucky Irving is on there. He has about 20% ownership. Tank Bigsby, with Travis Etienne looking kind of iffy, only has 5% ownership. So those are a few guys that I see on the waiver that entice me a little bit. Wide receiver wise, we kind of talked about the 2 guys that I liked, and then Baker. Justin Fields had an all right game. He's playing Denver, so maybe temper your expectations. But Chance can kind of talk about Jalil, how he feels about him.
Yeah, I think Jaleel McLaughlin is one of those guys. If you want to pick him up on waivers, I think this would be a great time to get him. I watched a lot of that game, and I feel like the Broncos kind of moved away from their run game early and tried to just open Bo Nix up. He had 43 pass attempts in the game, which is a stupid amount, right? I think that the Broncos want to get back to running the ball. I don't know if I think Jaleel McLaughlin or Javonte, who I'm still not out on at this point. I think his first run, I was like, oh, he's back. And then they just didn't use him very much after that. I'm not out on those Denver running backs because they're still going to get a ton of targets in Sean Payton's offense. But they play the Steelers this next week, and the Steelers are a good defense also. So picking up Jaleel McLaughlin, not a bad idea. You just have to temper expectations for a couple of these players based on the defenses they play. So that's where I'm at with Jaleel. I think he has a chance to be the guy. I'm not out on Javonte yet, but I think Jaleel has that opportunity.
Yep, agreed. If these guys are available, kind of we talked about, go get them, go pick them up. Be mindful they could serve you well, especially in the short term. We're going to move right into the next segment here, guys, which is our panic or chill players.
Yeah.
So let's get there.
It's the chill music.
I
I wanted chaos.
I wanted the freak out.
Yes.
It's too early. I think that's one of the things that's a good segue. Everybody needs to remember, we're about to go through these panic players, these chill players of kind of what's going on. We need to remember it's week 1. Many of these starters didn't even play in the 3 or 4 preseason games. So temper your expectations a little bit. I've already seen in a few of my leagues, people trading like crazy. I'm like, what? Why are you trading? This is nuts. That's my approach. There's been some studies, and I read it today, and I can't remember where I saw it, but talking about in fantasy football, to get a good feel of how the season's going to play out, and a good what's the word I'm looking for? Just a standard, right?
Barometer,
weeks 1, 2, and 3
barometer.
Yeah, barometer. Thank you. It's perfect.
Farmer's Almanac.
Weeks 1, 2, and 3. Yes, absolutely. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 are almost irrelevant. You have to wait till week 4 to really get an idea. We know that drafting, as much as we like to talk about what we know about this, that, and the other, this is how it's going to play out, it never really pans out that way. So understand that, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, give these guys an opportunity to kind of see where they're established. Now, we're always trying to beat other managers to the punch, and I get that, or get the one up, but don't sell the farm because Kincaid had 1 catch for 2.5 yards. Right. So, and we're gonna talk about him in just a second. So, but let's start off with one of your favorite guys, Justin. Let's talk with Pitts.
I cannot.
This was your guy.
I cannot believe your take right now. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I want you to know, for the record, I thought you were gonna rub his first week in my face. And now, welcome to the dark side, baby. Get over here.
Let's go before we give it too much away. But Justin, tell us your thoughts on Pitts. Are you panicked, or you just say chill for now?
I'm panicked. Let's
go.
Like, watching him play football was so hard for me this week. Like, it looks like he's jogging everywhere. Like, a big thing for me, like when I was deciding this, like, Kincaid had a bad game, but like, it looked like Kincaid was trying to play football. Mark Andrews was trying to play football. Kincaid was quadruple team. For the most part of Andrews' stuff, he was double team, and I'll get more into him later. Like, Pitt's only reason he was relevant is because he caught that touchdown on a broken play. That play was completely busted. Like, he was wide open in the end zone. He was not the read. He had 3 catches on 3 targets for 26 yards. Like, 25. I think that touchdown was at least 20 yards. Like, it did not look good. Our passing game did not look good. We did 0 play action. We were in pistol most of the time. I'm not super worried about Kirk Cousins. It's a play calling that scares the crap out of me. We were not under center at all, which is what Kirk Cousins' bread and butter is. But, man, his effort, even in blocking where he's not known for, it seemed like he didn't care. Like, it didn't matter. Running routes just looked lackadaisical. Like, our next 3 games are Philly, KC, and New Orleans. All have very good defenses. I'm not super excited for it. Like, it was tough to watch. It was fun to watch Bijan get a ton of carries, a ton of touches. I think he is the focal point of this offense. But man, Pitts looks scary. And the only reason he was a tight end 1, and I think he finished as a tight end 2, like, it's because of that touchdown. That is the only reason. He had 3 targets, 3 catches. That's it.
Tight end 3. Don't shade my boy Foster Moreau like that.
Oh, jeez. Sheesh.
So I think, I won't disagree with you. This is open for discussion, and I know he's on our panic button. So understand, with all the tight ends being what they were, Kyle Pitts was still tight end 3 week 1. So even though he played horrible and there was only 2 tight ends better than him, and you rolled him out there, so there really wasn't a whole lot of advantage on your fantasy football team. The thing that I'm a little bit more worried about than Pitts is just the Atlanta offense.
Kirk Cousins rough.
He did. So we're talking 16 for 26 attempts for 155 yards, two INTs and 1 TD. So, I mean, we were expecting this high flying offense, like points spread it around, and it's like, oh boy. And there's already rumors of if you just go onto Atlanta's chat, they're already calling for Penix, which is kind of crazy. Some people are out there going, I want Penix. As much as I want to panic on Pitts, I think I'm a little bit more panicked on the entire offense at this point. And Steelers defense looked pretty good. I mean, you already said it. Watt was all over the place. Single-handedly.
Wreck that game. That was it was I'm not super I haven't watched a lot of Steeler games, but holy crap, he was murdering us. It was bad.
I mean, the bright spot you could say for Atlanta was probably Bijan, which we probably talk a little bit about later. But this entire offense to me worries me a little bit, and we'll see how it goes from there. Chance, anything to add to that before we move on to our next guy?
No, I just think that, I mean, and I gave Lineberry a hard time about this, where it's like, you can't have the number 1 or RB in fantasy and the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy and the number 1 tight end in fantasy. As hyped as he was, and I think a lot of people have been about the Falcons offense, but I mean, Kirk Cousins barely planted on that back foot. He's still just coming off of an injury, and he is going to be hindered. He's going to be hindered heavily. And so these are guys that you should not, to me, I think that they're going to have a lot of value as we get towards the end of the year and this offense figures it out. But if you can go get Isaiah Likely and start him, or go get Colby Parkinson and start him while they figure this out, and kind of manage your expectations for Pitts early on in the season, that's probably the smarter bet.
Yeah. So again, we're not saying sell Pitts, and we're not saying sell him on the dirt cheap. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying a little bit panicked about him. Keep it in mind.
Yeah, unless
moving on.
Unless Lineberry wants to sell him to me in Dynasty, I have 0 tight ends.
There you go. Number 2, and he's right in the middle of your screen, is Mr. Travis Kelce. Chance. Let's go ahead and have. What are your thoughts here? Where do you have him? Are we panicked, or are we like, no, just chill a minute?
Listen, I'm on the panic train for Travis Kelce. Okay, and here's why. Travis Kelce still super important to this offense. Still has some juice. Okay, still, as of now, dating Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
right? He's still that guy. But what I saw from the game this week was that those, at least right now, to me, Travis Kelce is going to have the same style of year that Christian McCaffrey could have. The Chiefs, to me, want to save Kelce for when it matters. And I saw in that game, he got some targets. He didn't look like he was Mahomes' only option. Okay. Xavier Worthy showed up and looked good. Rashee Rice, to me, caught all of those passes across the middle that were lower check down passes that have been the Kelce catches for years. Rashee Rice took that role against Baltimore. And we're not even accounting for the fact that Hollywood Brown isn't back yet. I think Patrick Mahomes has so many more receiving options now than he's ever had, which terrifies me. But I think Travis Kelce to them is going to be, especially for where you drafted him in drafts. I do not think he finishes in the top 6 for tight ends, because he is not as essential to that Chiefs offense as he's been in the past couple of years. He'll still get his touchdowns, but it will not be out of necessity every single week. So for me, big panic on Travis Kelce.
Yep, I agree. The things I would add to that just a little bit, because I don't want to beat a dead horse here. It's a good thing for the Chiefs that Rashee Rice wasn't suspended.
Yes.
Yeah.
9 targets, 7 receptions, 103 yards. Right.
Looked great. Great.
Looked very good. I like Xavier Worthy, but I still think he's gadgety. He had 3 targets and he had he just made a pitch and for essentially a little toss. Looked good, right? Just a quick
play.
See ya touchdown, and he'll get more of that. Here's the thing that just absolutely cemented it for me for Kelsey. So Noah Gray, 3 targets, 3 catches, 37 yards. Travis Kelsey, 4 targets, 3 catches, 34 yards. He is no longer the guy. He doesn't need to be the guy. He's been the guy. I'm with you, Chance. I've sold Kelsey. You hope he has one really good game and ship him.
Absolutely.
Ship him.
Don't forget about my boy Run Hard, Isaiah Pacheco.
And Pacheco.
Yeah.
As long as he stays healthy, he'll be good. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Our third guy here, and this was the guy I picked because I brought it up a little bit earlier, but it's Dalton Kincaid. And in Lineberry, I'm going to let you tee this one off because you had followed the game a little bit and kind of observed the double teams. Give me your take on Kincaid. What are your thoughts? Are we panicked or are we chill on this guy? Go ahead.
I like he's got Josh Allen, dude. Josh Allen, like he might be my man crush, man. I love Josh Allen. So, anyways, there's a couple just little scribble ups of just film and stuff. I'm watching him just run his routes just from the all 22 angle. They're not playing man, they're playing a zone based coverage, but it's 4 dudes on him. They're he's not gonna beat us. Based on the film, defensive coordinators know this is the guy. We need to stop him. Again, you have Josh Allen, it's a cheat code. But I'm not worried at all. Him and Dawson Knox, very similar to the Ravens offense. They should use 2 tight ends the whole time. There's no reason either of those 2 guys should come off the field, and Kincaid is the better receiver. So,
yep, I agree. So, just for reference, Josh Allen was 18 of 23 for 232 and 2 TDs. So we didn't even throw that much. Which I'm going to pause here just for a second. But quarterbacks this first week threw less total passes than they had in 5 years. Total number of plays are way down. So give your quarterback some grace, which means then you have to give your pass catcher some grace. I think Keon Coleman looked good. I think Shakir even looked good. But Dalton Kincaid will get his because they will not be able to focus on him all the time.
So that our listeners are clear, Dalton Kincaid is a chill. Don't worry. Panic on Pitts, panic on Kelsey, chill on Kincaid. Nobody said it, but Kincaid is a total chill. Don't worry about it.
Relax. He's still, at least in my eyes, tight end 1. So if not tight end 1, 2, or 3. So all right, moving on to our next group, panic or chill. So Justin, I know we're going to talk right about your boy right out of the gate and Deshaun Watson. What do you think
on
Deshaun Watson?
I didn't pick him. I didn't even pick him.
Listen,
I didn't even pick him.
I just wanted you to talk about him.
Let's go.
Listen, I picked him. I picked Deshaun Watson on our panic.
Yes.
And I think right now, Deshaun Watson's a panic. Okay. If you are a Deshaun Watson owner, if you for some reason he's your quarterback, I would panic a little. Now, that being said, Deshaun Watson, his game could have been totally different if Amari Cooper had reined in a very catchable ball in the end zone from Deshaun Watson. Okay. He's also dealing with some injuries along that O-line, and Dallas has a great defense. Okay. The problem with Deshaun Watson is that he plays in a division full of great defenses. He's still coming off of some injuries. He's not 100%. Okay. He now is dealing with yet another allegation of sexual misconduct or whatever. Okay. This boy's down. Okay. Now, my last resort flyer for Deshaun Watson is going to be how he looks against the Washington Commanders in a couple weeks, because their defense is bad. And Deshaun Watson could still very well be a good quarterback against medium to bad defenses. But against good defenses, as of right now, I'm panicked. If he's playing a good defense, I'm going to panic. Now, on the flip side of this, a guy that I have been out on for a little bit looked really good. Deshaun to Jerry Jeudy. Okay. Jerry Jeudy looked pretty good. Okay?
We talked about that earlier in preseasons.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jeudy could be a dude there if Deshaun figures it out. But I think against some of the defenses he's going to face, I panic.
Yep. So to give you some some insight to this. So Deshaun Watson, 24 for 45, right? 45 attempts, second most in week 1 behind Stafford for 169 yards, 2 picks, 1 TD, and that TD was to Jerry Jeudy. In addition to, I think David Njoku is going to be out, who had 5 targets. So it's going to be limited. I'm with you. It's kind of on the fence, but I'm more and more, and I have Deshaun Watson in a dynasty, but I'm more and more out on Watson. If I can sell him, I will.
Lineberry loves to hear it.
Yes, he does. Yes. Zamir White.
Oh, so break my heart, Matt. Break my heart, Matt. Break it.
Let's talk about it. I am a little bit nervous on this. Gosh, really just the overall Raiders offense. As I pull it up here, they just looked bad. The only bright spot in my eyeballs was probably Brock Bowers. He looked really good.
He looked good. If he's on waivers, go get him.
Go.
If by some reason
pause the podcast and get him right now, and then turn it back on.
Yes. So Zamir White had 13 carries, 44 yards, and he spent a little bit of time. Alexander Madison got some work, who I was like a little bit surprised that he did. Not so much in the running game. He had 5 carries, but in the passing game, Alexander Madison had 4 receptions for 43 yards in that touchdown. And we've seen Zeus in the past do the reception work. So I'm like, oh boy, I'm a bit nervous on him. And I have him in a couple leagues. I'm not full panic, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I
have one question for you guys, as football fans, as people who like watch football. Okay, did you hear what was going on in Alexander Madison's life on Sunday? His wife was in labor, giving birth to their son, cool. and the coach came out afterwards and said, "Listen, hey, it was super cool for Alexander Madison. You know, he became a dad today. Do you believe in like team hype or team productivity based on things like that, like becoming a new dad and the team just like, hey, Alexander, today's going to be your day. You know, your wife's in labor. Do you guys believe in that at all?
No, you're trying to win a game.
He immediately got dad strength right away. Immediately.
I can't wait for dad strength. As strong as I am now, I cannot wait to see where it takes me.
It's going to be scary. Can't go out in public anymore.
Let's go.
Yeah. I just temper expectations. I really thought he would get full on, right? Beefy running back, go get him. You're our guy. And it's just like not looking that way. I mean, this offense looks really bad. Other than Brock Bowers. I know Minshew threw for 257 and a touchdown, but I am hopeful things get better.
I know he was a healthy scratch, but if you are in a dynasty league, go get Dylan Laube. Okay. I think Dylan Laube could be a mid-season waiver smash if these running backs continue to look real mediocre.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to our ETN. So right now we have Panic, and now ETN. We are okay. Where are we at? This was my guy that I picked on here, and I am panicked on ETN. Only because Tank Bigsby had just as many carries for more yards than Travis Etienne. Now, I knew we talked about Etienne a little bit in one of our previous broadcasts. Is like, hey, he could be it, but understand, I think they want to give him some rest, but I didn't think it was going to be this much because Tank Bigsby was abysmal last year, and now he looks like he's getting equal. This is a full-on committee. Thoughts on this one? Either one of you two, take it away.
Go ahead, Justin.
That fumble at the goal line was tough. Like that's the difference. Like
I couldn't agree more.
Like I think it was a 10-point play that he would have got, and it ended up being the -2, whatever your fumbles are. Like that's huge. Yeah. Like that swings the game so hard. Again, I think like what Matt said, I think they do want to get Tank involved.
Yeah, that touchdown saved Etienne's because he had 1 rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
still, so he would have had 2, but that's what kind of saved him. Other than that, there's not much. Even as far as receiving, he only had 3 targets, so it's not like he's getting fed a bunch. So just keep tempered expectations, maybe, but it feels like a full-blown committee right now to me.
I do think it's important to understand that they will try to spell Etienne more this season than last season. Etienne's his blow up last year was great, but again, it felt like an outlier. it felt like an outlier, and I think he's going to regress back to the mean in the workload he gets.
Agreed. Moving on to the next group. Gosh, I was all in on the Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson RPO, and God, that's really not what we saw. But let's talk about Derrick Henry. Justin, you're giving the face of like, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Man, the Derrick Henry, man. Like, when is it gonna fall off? Like, I don't think his play was bad. Like, even watching the game, like, it felt like he would just run into the line and get 3 yards and, like, nothing would happen. Like, it felt like that first drive they were feeding him like crazy. He scores a touchdown. And then it felt like Justice Hill was just doing work. Like, he was getting to the ball in the backfield, running hard, like, looking somewhat decent. Again, I don't know if he's going to be what we thought in this offense. Again, he could be Gus Edwards and score 30 touchdowns. I don't know if I see it. I think they like Justice Hill a lot. Keaton Mitchell's gonna come back and do something. It feels like I feel like we're beating the horse dead, whatever you want to call it. They want to save him. I feel like, but I don't know, Chance. I can't remember saying he gets it.
It's like beating a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse. There it goes.
Close enough.
Like they want to save him. It feels like they want to save him.
Yeah.
They want like it. Everybody's going to this chief model. We gotta save our best player. We gotta save him. Like limit his reps. Justice Hill just looked like he had way more juice, but I'm a little panicked on Derrick Henry.
Chance.
Yeah, I mean, even Harbaugh came out and said about Justice Hill that Justice Hill wasn't even going to, Justice Hill wasn't looking to be their third down back. They want to play players that are good in this offense. And Harbaugh said, we didn't bring Derrick Henry here to run him into the ground. We brought him here to be effective for us when he's effective, which to me is goal line work. And that might reduce the number of yards he gets a game.
Yeah. I think if you look at the construct of this offense, the offensive line is atrocious. It's way worse than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Lamar Jackson had 16 carries for 122 yards. Derrick Henry had 13 for 46 in that touchdown. I think they got into a script like, oh my gosh, we got to throw a little bit. And they tried really hard to get Zay Flowers the ball. He had 10 targets, but notice what kind of targets they were. They were quick screen, get it out fast and go. This team's only going to go as far as Lamar can take them with that offensive line. That's horrible. They got to figure it out. This is not quite what I thought was going to happen, but it's like, wow. So Derek, you brought in Derrick Henry to not do much. I think I would have rather saw Derrick Henry in Dallas, to be honest. So, but man, we'll see how it goes. I'm a little bit panicked like you guys are. So just keep that in mind. Moving on to DK Metcalf. Chance, let us know your thoughts.
This is gonna be real quick. Okay. Chill on DK Metcalf. Okay. I've been honking the horn. I've been the conductor on this DK Metcalf hype train all summer long. And I knew from the jump that DK had the worst first week draw of any wide receiver. Okay. He played one of the best and one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the league in Pat Surtain. Okay. 3 catches for 24 yards is what DK had. And 29. And he played 25 snaps, or he had 25, I think it was snaps. I saw all the stats on my Broncos feed about how locked down he was by Pat Surtain. Okay. And that's okay. Tyler Lockett got his targets. And I think DK and JSN both had the same number of targets. They both had 6 targets. Okay.
That was combined.
Oh, it's combined?
Yep. So DK had 4 and JSN had 2.
I think it's going to take this Seattle offense a little bit of time to adjust to its new system. And with Pat Surtain playing against DK, I think better weeks are ahead. This is easily, it was a dud week, and I felt it in every one of my leagues. I have like 95% exposure to DK on my fantasy leagues. So it was a rough week for me. I'm super chill about it. I'm not panicked at all.
So we got to go with game script again. So understand Geno Smith only threw the ball 25 times. Kenneth Walker ran the ball 20. So it was very much an even split. But we want to run the ball. We talked about this early on. We knew, I think Justin said, because he was worried about that offensive line, they're going to have to run the ball to be able to open up the passing stuff. And they're trying to establish that. So some stuff that I did here this morning was one of the good things that with the new offensive coordinator come in for the Seahawks, Geno Smith is getting the ball extremely efficient. He's getting out it as quick as he's ever has in the past. So that's a good sign. I think there's going to be opportunity for DK as well. Do not panic on DK. I'm all in with you, Chance, 100%. Hold, don't sell. Just be patient because this offense is gonna do some good things. Moving on. So, boy, talking about the Bengals, the team in general just not lay an egg. And so we've got Jamar Chase up here, and really we could talk about the whole offense if you really wanted to. But let's talk about Chase. Who I don't remember whose this was, but okay, Justin. Let's talk about him. What are your thoughts?
Man, so this goes with exactly the same point Chance was talking about. So I think a lot of people forgot who Christian Gonzalez was. Kid was a stud coming out of Oregon. Last year, I think game 5, he tore his pec. So he really didn't get a rookie year. We were talking before the podcast about corners, and Patrick Surtain is that guy. I think there's no question he's better than Sauce. Sauce got all this talk coming out. Patrick Surtain is that guy. Corners in today's NFL, it's like having Josh Allen on your offense. It just makes such a huge difference. So people's eyes are going to get open this year about Christian Gonzalez. He might be a top 2 guy already. I think it's going to be pretty hard to supplant Patrick Surtain, just how big he is, how athletic he is, his lineage. But Christian Gonzalez followed Jamar Chase around, and he shut him down. Again, Jamar Chase still had 6 catches on 6 targets. He still got fed somewhat. You got to remember he was holding out. We were talking about that all week, and he came out and said, listen, I have a hard day. If you're not going to pay me my money, I'm just going to play just like Justin Jefferson did last year. I think once they get a little bit more in the game plan, a little bit more in rhythm, they're going to be fine. Jamar Chase is still that guy. Like, let's not forget it. He still has a ton of potential to finish wide receiver 1. He's fine. Tough matchup, just like Chance said. I think Jamar Chase is going to be totally fine this week.
Yep. Keep in mind. So I agree with you. I think we all agree that Chase is going to be just fine. 6 targets, 6 receptions for 62 yards. No touchdowns. Joe Burrow threw the ball just 29 times. In addition to that, I wanted to Chase finished as wide receiver 34. If he scores 1 touchdown, he's near top 12. That's it. That's all he needed. So you understand, right? That 1 touchdown catch would get him over and put him right back up top. He's going to get his targets. I mean, he's 6 for 6 and, like I said, 62 yards. He's going to be just fine. Chill on Chase, man, and just ride it. It's coming. Those are our panic or chill players, which is a lot of fun. We're going to do more of this in the show. I think I like it. It's pretty cool. Were there any? We're actually doing pretty good on time here. Were there any games that you watched over the weekend that you were either wowed, as in yes, this is exactly what I saw, or I was expecting, or from certain players or certain teams, or the other way around? They just went, that didn't go well.
I just want to talk about the Texans real quick. Sorry. So
sure, perfect.
So Diggs had 2 touchdowns, right? Everybody's going to freak out about that. Okay. Let's not forget who got them to the goal line the majority of the time. It was that guy, Nico Collins. He had 8 targets on 6 receptions, 117 yards, 19 yards of reception. Like, everybody's going to freak out about Diggs. I get it. He was yelling on the sideline already. Please don't lose faith in Nico and Takedown. They're still those guys. Like, CJ Stroud still loves them. Again, they're feeding Stephon Diggs in the red zone. That's just how it worked out. Do not lose faith in those 2 guys.
Yeah, I got 2 of them. One, I would, if you have a Packers wide receiver, okay, the next little bit, and it reminded me that we missed this in the news of Jordan Love's knee injury because it was a Friday game. Okay, Jordan Love is going to miss some time. Okay, luckily everything's intact. They think he could miss up to 3 weeks. The Packers are not going to be good offensively or for fantasy for a little while. If you have Josh Jacobs, Don't panic on him. He is literally the last man standing on that offense. And they're gonna give him the ball. He's gonna run the rock because Malik Willis, who is their current quarterback, is 0 NFL touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his total NFL starts. So he's not good. Temper your expectations for Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Dontavian Wicks. They're going to struggle for the next 3 weeks. If you can go get them next week or in 2 weeks, go get them. Jordan Love will be back.
Yep, agreed. While we have a little bit of time here, I think we can take the next 10 minutes because we always talk about having receipts and say, hey, this is what we said. Here's where we're at. So I want to briefly talk about our start and sit 'em from last week because we've got. We're not perfect. We're hoping to shoot for 70% at best, right? So last week we said start Goff, start Burrow, start Stafford. And again, these are like players we're like, we think so, we're not sure. Goff was finished 18, Stafford 12, Burrow was way down there. I have to look again, but 29. So but here's the thing, Burrow's one of those guys you got to start. That's just one you're going to. I think we called Stafford top 12, and Goff was one of those mid-ranges we weren't sure. Go ahead and plug him in, especially in Superflex. So I think we did pretty well there. Burrow was a tough one. It's probably one we missed, but I'm pretty sure everybody missed on Burrow this week. So players we had sit, and we had 2 rookies. We had Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and we clearly said we're not sure. Just be patient with them. So Jaden Daniels looked pretty good, especially with his legs. Finished, I think, top.
It's top 2, top 3.
Top 3.
Yeah.
And Caleb Williams was way down there, and Tua was our third one that we said to sit, and Tua was 9. So we were kind of right, kind of not. Caleb Williams, we were called it correct, but Tua and Jaden Daniels, okay, they proved us wrong. But here's what we learned, right? We're all right. It's week 1, and we're going to get more information as it goes.
Yep.
Running backs. Jacobs, Williams, and Ford are all the ones that we decided we wanted last week. So let me get to the running backs real fast.
Javonte laid an egg. I already know that.
Oh, yeah. Javonte was rough. Jacobs wasn't great.
Javonte was rough. Where was he? I just saw him. I don't remember Jacobs being that low. Jacobs was
27. 27 on mine. It's standard.
I had Jerome Ford is 37. Is this right? Is this what I want? No. Hold on.
Jacobs was 25th in PPR. Ford was 9. Ford was the top 10 guy.
So yeah. Nice. So we did well. We called that one as hard with Williams. To sit him, Dowdle we nailed, Harris we nailed, and White we nailed. We told you to sit those guys. Don't start them. It was tough. So we nailed all 3 of those, in my opinion. Wide receivers, start them. Pickens, yep. Nico, yep. Wilson, Garrett Wilson, which is a little tougher, but he did get a lot of carry or a lot of targets. Just the whole offense did not produce well for Williams. Pickens was 29, which I think again, they got to be outside the top 30 for us to miss, in my opinion.
And Pickens looked good. I mean, like when you
he really did.
When you have Justin Fields throwing you the ball, I think if Pickens had scored a touchdown, it'd be a totally different story about him this week.
He had a 40-yard catch that got called back on a really bad call, bad call.
Yes, he did. Well, why can't I find Williams? I'll tell you in a second. If you can find him, Lineberry.
Garrett Wilson?
Wilson. Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
He's down there.
He was down. I'm just kidding. He's another guy don't panic on for sure.
But
things will be fine.
Listen, Alan Lazard is Aaron Rodgers' boy. We didn't put Alan Lazard on waiver pickups, but should we have? Oh boy.
Yeah, maybe.
3 points. Good night.
Alan Lazard was legit last night.
I think it was one of those things nobody anticipated Lazard doing anything, and so he found himself open. But wide receivers, we said sit DK. We were correct on that one. Sit Pittman and sit Adams. we were correct on all those three. Stardom. This was tough. We said start Kincaid, Pitts, and McBride. McBride did okay, but Kincaid and Pitts was tough for us.
Hey, Pitts
And
was
then we
number
did
3.
say-
The top 4 guy. Pitts was the top 4 guy.
Oh, that's true. That's
Pitts
true
was
for what he
a-
was. You're right.
Oh.
It was tough
He's just
All
a
relative.
for what it was.
All relative.
And we did miss. So we said sit Kelsey, sit Kittle, and sit Bowers. But we did say we just weren't sure on Bowers. But now we know he's an everyday start. So
He looked good.
I think when you go back and look at our what we suggested, we did pretty good. I say we're 60%, which is solid on our end. So that's a good job. Good job to the 208 fellas. So
good job for us.
We're about an hour in. Does anybody have anything last words before we jump on, or before we just jump off and get out of here for the evening?
Hey, like Matt was saying early, and this is a Bill Belichick thing. Bill Belichick says all the time that you cannot really determine how good a team is until week 4 of the regular season, especially with all of these teams choosing not to play in the preseason with one less preseason game. Preseason at this point extends into week 2 at least. As pumped as I have been for football to be back, I expect another crappy week of football where the disappointments outweigh the highlights. Just be ready for it. And you never lose your championship in the first week. Remember that.
Just going to say
do
that.
not
Ever.
lose your championship in the first week. Write it out. Subscribe, like, follow, listen to our real crappy and sometimes real good fantasy advice. Okay. We're here to tilt
We're being
and panic
honest.
and freak out with you.
Agreed. Well said, Chance. Well said. Justin, anything from you?
I just love the NFL season and how much it just ruins my day. We had dinner so we had dinner Sunday night. Right after the Falcons game, I took a 2-hour nap because I was just pissed. And then Amber's like, how ruined is your day right now? I was like, it's pretty ruined. My day's done. I'm mad. I love that. I it's crazy how much an effect football can have on my life from the day to day. So it's super fun to do so.
Hey, look, if it's any consolation, so we play in a family league, and my little nephew is a 6th grader, and he beat me week 1, who for a guy that's been playing for years. It's a fantasy football channel. Look, here, this is how it goes, guys. It's just fantasy football. It's a lot of fun. You try to get those bragging rights. Just don't panic. I still love my team, but just don't panic. It'll be okay.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, you can turn on the notifications. We want you to hang out with us and just have a good time talking ball. We want to hear your teams. Tell us what's going well. Tell us what's not going well. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you very soon with our week 2 updates. So be ready to roll. All right, we're out.